What's up, guys? It's been a while since I put a video up. I wanted to revisit the packing of my GR1 for GORUCK events. I've done several events since the last video I put out and made some modifications. GORUCK's evolving, so are GRTs. Learning what works, what doesn't, changing up. Sorry about the crappy video and the shaky camera. I'm having to do this on my phone. I just went and looked around the house. All the cameras we have are dead. So, anyway, I wanted to get this out. First up is the handles. I put on the bottom there. Before I used these little guys. And after a couple of vents, I was checking up on them, and the little gate started to back loose. So, get rid of that. Instead, I went to 2 carabiners and I attached them this way. See if I can, sorry about that. They're pretty tight in there. These are the same, nothing new there. Biggest change for me is I got rid of the bricks. They're just big, cumbersome, bulky. Pretty much anybody that does this for a hobby is going to steel plates. GORUCK even sells them now. I got my plate from deadweighttraining.com. I just like the dimensions. It fit better in my pack, or for what I thought would fit better. It just SH Plates is another good place to get them. That's a veteran-owned company. I've bought some stuff from him. I just got a little bit better deal on my steel plate from Deadweight Training. But even GORUCK.com sells them now. So here's my plate. I got it in there, and I have it just strapped in. So for bear crawls or plank position or whatever, the weight's not sliding out of this compartment here and crashing up into here. It keeps it right there. I didn't put it in the laptop compartment because it puts the weight a little bit higher on my back, and it doesn't feel right on my shoulder blades. With a steel plate, the weight is so thin, and you're able to keep it so close to your body that it doesn't need to be high on the shoulder blades like the bricks do. It can be a little bit lower in the rucksack and it not be detrimental, because it's held in really close and tight, and it gives, you know, your back, if you look at your shoulder blades, they bow out a little bit, so it allows for that to happen. When I put it in the interior, I guess that's a bladder compartment. So, let's see if I can get this to hang out. There we go. First up, sip of beer. Okay, anybody that's ever rode horses or wore a belt in the 90s will know this little trick. I have the strap in here. Make sure it's good and cinched down tight. Bring it up through the bottom, like so. Nothing to it. Then my bladder. I had to get a new hydration bladder. I did last challenge I did, we had to pick rocks up out of a riverbed and shove them in our packs. Another reason I want to get rid of the bricks, because that was pretty much a nightmare trying to get one to fit in my rucksack with 6 bricks in there. But anyway, one of the rocks put a hole through my bladder, so I get a new one. And the attachment point up here is a little different, so I tied a little piece of 550 cord through that. I'll put him down in there with the weight, and then this clips into the carabiner that's up top, which I discussed in my last video. So that's where he lives. Feed the hose in through the top. Business same as usual. Put him in Attachment to the bladder. Give it a good shake. Make sure it's not going to come loose. Put a little pressure on it. Make sure it doesn't leak. If you get a brand new bladder, fill it up with water at home. Make sure you don't have any leaks. You don't want to find that out when you're standing there waiting on your welcome party. It's a bad time to find out you got a leaky bladder. Happened to a buddy of mine on this first challenge. So, lesson learned. Put the hose in, drink from it, make sure you're not going to leak anywhere. Tuck them home. Also, without the bricks, I can put the bladder in here and it helps protect it if I have any more surprise rocks that need to go in my rucksack during the event. Anyway, that's that. Spare bladder. Like I said, busted bladder. I've seen leaky bladders. It just, you don't want to be that guy. It sucks, man, having to drink from other people's bladders the rest of the night. My ghetto ass arrangement here is falling apart. So, take my spare bladder, put him up here. That's where he lives. Good enough. Got me a dry sack. I'm not going to keep a whole lot in there. The next event I'm doing is a heavy. I'm taking 3 extra pairs of socks. I'm putting them individually in Ziploc bags, each pair. So I'll go ahead and put those in there. And here's the 3rd pair. I didn't pack this pair up yet because I wanted to show you this. So, try to think ahead as much as possible. And your feet are probably going to be wet, and your socks will be dry, and anytime you've tried to put dry socks on wet feet, it's difficult, and it's frustrating. Plus, it also invites athlete's foot and other fungus and just general funk. So, got a little Gold Bond here. Helps if I open it up. Put a little in the sock. Shake it on down. That'll help the sock slide on a wet foot a little bit easier, and it'll help mitigate some of the funk from having wet feet for 12, 10, 24, 30 hours, however long your event's going to take. So again, 1 pair of socks per Ziploc bag. That way I can grab them, pull them out of the dry sack real easy. Nasty hands are only grabbing 1 pair of socks at a time. I'm not getting the other ones wet and dirty. And when I take my nasty wet socks off my feet, I put them in this Ziploc bag, seal them back up, throw them back in there. They're contained with the rest of the goods, so it's not shit just rolling around in my pack. It's all nice and neat in this bag, but the dirty socks isn't, they're not infecting the clean socks. They're in their own little Ziploc bag being funky. So, kind of squeeze all the air out so it's almost vacuum sealed. Put those in there. Next up, let's talk about food. So, 3 pair of dry socks ready to go. I'll be lucky if I get to change my socks that many times, but if they give me a 4th time to change socks, and I'll just pull out the least dirtiest of the 3 I have here, and then the 4th on my feet. So whichever out of those 4 pairs, the least dirty, is the ones I'll end up wearing. That's food. I got some dehydrated apples and some beef jerky, separated it up into little baggies that I can grab. You're not going to have a whole lot of time to eat. Maybe 10 minutes, 20 minutes at the most, but that's to change socks and eat. So you want to grab something quick. You might have to shove it in your pocket and nibble as you go. More than likely they're going to take this all away from me at the welcome party anyway. Let me have it, or let us have our food as we earn it. But got a couple of dehydrated apples and some beef jerky here. Some kind of fancy thing from REI, whatever that is. It's mostly fruit. Some energy shooters and some energy gels. I'm also going to stop and pick up some Cliff bars, just some protein bars. A little bit heavy, but they sit your gut heavy too, and they'll really curb the hunger for a while. So probably pick up 3 of those maybe. And, you know, I'm not going to be feasting, that's for sure, but at least I'll have something to nibble on every few hours to keep the carbs and energy up. And keep the hunger pains back. And squeeze as much air out as we can. Also got it separately bagged. Keep the funky socks off of it, and you know, it's a pretty nice thick dry bag here, but there's still the potential it could leak water, so just another barrier to keep your food from rotting if water intrusion does happen. And that's pretty much all that needs to go in there. Probably throw my headlamp in there, just for good measure, just to help keep it dry. So again, try to squeeze all the air out of this stuff before you seal it up. You know, humping around a bunch of extra weight and air. Not that air weighs anything, but it takes up room in your bag and just sits funny on your back. So there we go. Continental wet wipes. Man, if you gotta take a dump, you gotta go take a dump. So, GORUCK event, you're rarely gonna have access to a bathroom. So toilet paper sucks. Some good old-fashioned mountain money right here. This will be nice if I have to use it. So we'll put that up there. That's good enough for that part. Oh, I also have a little doggy bag. If I'm in the middle of the park and I gotta take a shit behind a bush, I would prefer to just leave it there, but you never know, the cadre might say, hey, you need to take that with you. So there we go. We got a nice little doggy bag in there if I need it. Pelican case. It's a little bit heavy, but stuff in here needs to be protected. I don't need it getting poked or smashed. Basically what I have in here is I've got some suntan lotion. I'll be out there during the day. It's going to be sunny, so hopefully I get a chance to smear some of this on at some point during the event. Body Glide, because I chafe. Who doesn't? Anybody that's rolling in sand and humping around for a challenge or a heavy, you're going to chafe somewhere. So got some of this to rub down in the between the thighs, and probably put a little on my feet too at the beginning. And the rest is just hand sanitizer, some medical tape, some bandages, some moleskin, prescriptions. I don't want to take all of them, but you know, it's against the law to have your prescriptions stored anywhere else but the bottle they came in, so they all have to go, which sucks, but that's being legal. Ibuprofen. You know, every 4 to 6 hours I'm going to be trying to get some of this in my body if I have the opportunity. Dental floss, I touched on that last video. So that's that. I don't want any of that stuff getting smashed by rocks or rolling the ruck around or whatever, so it's fairly well protected. I've got a smaller one. Again, it's a lot extra weight. I hate having to carry Pelican cases because they're heavy, but they protect what's inside. And this one's going to have my cell phone, quitter's cash, ATM card, driver's license, and spare batteries for the headlamp. So it sucks. It's extra weight. I normally wouldn't have to carry, but oh well. Lastly, at the beginning of the heavy, you were supposed to have a pair of dry clothes to change into, labeled. I've just got a t-shirt, a pair of socks, and a pair of silkies, or ranger pants. where we're doing our heavy at in DC, there's no parking close to the park. I'm going to have to park God knows where and either get an Uber car or hump it in or a cab or something. I don't know. We're in the middle of a neighborhood and all the street parking is belongs to the houses. So when you buy a house, you buy the rights to street park in front of it. So since I don't own any houses there, I'm up Shit Creek. So here's my dry clothes I'm required to have. I don't think I'm going to get an opportunity to go put them back in my car once they're inspected. So I got them here in a Ziploc bag. Put them here in this, well, it's not a field pocket, but it was a bag GORUCK sold a while back. They've discontinued, but it's lightweight, it's contained, it's in a, you know, it may get wet in there, but hopefully the Ziploc bag will keep it dry. But if it does, I don't care. You know, whatever. Probably not going to change anyway. I'm going to wear, not going to wear any cotton for the event. It's going to be all synthetic. So as I do get wet, I should air out pretty quickly. And it's July 4th weekend, so it'll be plenty hot. I'm not worried about being cold. In fact, I'll probably prefer being wet. Help cool me off. But that's pretty much how I've changed. How I pack for GORUCK events. Seal it all up. Another tip I learned is, we'll put them on this side. The zippers on this side. Let's try to keep your zippers together, but on one side, like so. And then this is the bottom of the bag, and I got the zippers way down here together. And that way, as your bag fills up with water, as you're taking bottom samples, you got a little hole there for it to help drain out, because as you can see, no hole here. So it will eventually drain out, seeping through the material in the zipper, but this helps expedite that process a lot quicker than having the zipper up here at the top. And clip in my hose. I'm ready to go. Footwear. I've also changed what I wear on my feet. I went from wearing boots to just trail runners. I started out with the Solomons, all the cadre wear. They're not designed for my feet. I had terrible blisters. I did 12 miles 2 weeks ago and had taken black. I was taken back. I was bleeding through my socks, literally. It was pretty bad. So I got a pair of Merrell trail runners, and I've done about 10 miles in them in the last 2 weeks. Just breaking them in. Just last night I went out and filled a bucket full of water, dunked my feet in there to get them nice and wet, and went out and put a couple miles in around my neighborhood just to, with 50-pound ruck on, to break them in and to feel how they'll do wet. And so far no problems, so I think those are going to be the pair I wear. We'll see. So wish me luck.